There is a massive storm brewing in the 90-Day Fiancé universe right now, and it centers around a spectacular downfall no one saw coming. For years, fans rallied behind Jenny Slatten, viewing her as the ultimate romantic underdog who sacrificed everything to be with Sumit in India. But overnight, that fierce loyalty has completely shattered. Viewers are relentlessly roasting her, not for the massive 30-year age gap, but for a shocking display of weaponized incompetence that is tearing her marriage apart at the seams. People are suddenly realizing that the villain of this story might not be Sumit's fiercely critical mother after all. Instead, Jenny is sabotaging her own happily ever after by acting like a pampered guest in her own home, and insider reports suggest the breaking point has finally been reached behind the scenes. If you want to know the real truth about this exploding television scandal and dive deep into reality TV's biggest controversies, take a quick second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. Your support helps us expose the wildest unscripted secrets, and you won't want to miss what we uncover next. For over a decade, Jenny built her entire public persona on a single, desperate mission. She traveled across the globe, abandoned her life in America, and fought tooth and nail to prove to Sumit's deeply conservative family that she was a worthy, devoted partner. She practically begged for their approval. She demanded to be taken seriously as an Indian housewife, crying on camera about how unfair the cultural judgment was. But in a twist of absolute, brilliant irony, Jenny has completely owned herself on national television. By throwing a massive tantrum over doing a few simple household chores, she didn't just sabotage her own public image, she accidentally proved her biggest hater, Sumit's mother Sadhna, completely right. All those years of Sadhna screaming that Jenny was too old, too lazy, and unfit to run an Indian household suddenly look less like cruel insults and more like psychic predictions. Jenny spent 10 years fighting for the crown of the household, only to refuse to lift a finger once she actually got it. But the irony of her situation goes much deeper than just a messy kitchen. There is a psychological trap Jenny has built for herself, and we are currently watching her fall right into it. In recent seasons, she has been incredibly vocal, complaining endlessly that Sumit is neglecting her. She whines to anyone who will listen that he went back to work 6 days a week, leaving her isolated and lonely in a foreign country. But here is the glaring, unavoidable contradiction that has fans absolutely furious. Sumit is working a full-time job, doing all the grocery shopping and cooking the meals. Instead of taking on simple daily chores to lighten his heavy load so he can actually have the free time to spend with her, Jenny refuses to help. She aggressively demands his constant presence while actively refusing to create the very free time she claims to crave. She wants him to be a provider, a husband, a chef, and a full-time entertainer, while her only daily requirement is simply existing. And what makes this dynamic even more frustrating is how she manipulates her own physical capabilities to get exactly what she wants. This brings us to the ultimate credibility dilemma. Jenny is playing a highly dangerous double game with her age, and the audience is finally seeing right through the illusion. When the TLC cameras are rolling for fun and adventure, Jenny is incredibly youthful and vibrant. She is out ziplining on her honeymoon, doing viral high-energy TikTok dances with her daughter Christina, and constantly boasting about her active physical lifestyle to justify marrying a man 3 decades her junior. She wants the world to know she can keep up with a much younger man. But the exact second there is a dirty cooking pan left in the sink, suddenly a miraculous transformation occurs. She instantly acts like a frail, exhausted retiree who is simply too weak to scrub a single plate. She uses her youth to validate the romance and prove she is a lively partner, but fiercely weaponizes her age to dodge basic adult responsibilities. You simply cannot be a vibrant, youthful adventurer on social media and then play the helpless senior citizen the moment someone hands you a broom. But this double standard isn't just irritating viewers, it is actively putting their entire future in jeopardy. Recent rumors suggest that the stakes right now are significantly higher than just a dusty house or a messy kitchen. Insider reports claim that behind closed doors, the tension over Jenny's lifestyle has reached a boiling point, pushing Sumit to secretly explore his options for the future. There's a lot of buzz online and within production circles that Sumit is quietly researching surrogacy and adoption to finally appease his family's demand for a grandchild. It's been said that he desperately wants a child to carry on his family name, but how can Sumit, or the viewers for that matter, genuinely believe Jenny is ready to help raise a crying, demanding newborn when she cannot even maintain basic hygiene in her own living room? Whispers from the set suggest that producers are highly aware of this crumbling dynamic, and it's becoming the unspoken elephant in the room. This isn't just about dirty dishes anymore. It is about her professional standing on the network and her long-term financial survival. If Sumit realizes he is already raising a heavily dependent child, meaning Jenny herself, the entire foundation of their marriage could completely implode. And if the marriage shatters, so do their highly lucrative television contracts. But if you think that sounds tense, wait until you hear about the specific moment that completely turned the entire internet against her. The knockout blow that completely shattered Jenny's carefully crafted image wasn't a massive screaming match or a wild infidelity scandal. It was a seemingly ordinary dinner scene that exposed the absolute worst of her entitlement, leaving viewers physically cringing at their screens. When Jenny's daughter Christina and her partner Jen flew all the way to India to visit, the pressure was on to make them feel welcome. To his absolute credit, Sumit stepped up and played the perfect gracious host. He spent hours navigating crowded markets, prepping ingredients, and sweating over a hot stove to cook a massive traditional Indian feast for Jenny and her family. In any normal relationship, the unspoken rule is incredibly simple. If one person spends hours cooking a giant meal for your visiting relatives, the absolute least you can do is clean up the kitchen afterward. Instead, the cameras captured an unbelievable moment of audacity. Jenny was caught getting visibly annoyed, actively complaining to Sumit for leaving dirty dishes in the sink. She didn't offer to help. She didn't thank him for the incredible effort. She just complained about the mess his generosity created. The internet absolutely erupted over this display of sheer ingratitude. Reddit threads and Instagram comment sections caught fire, with one fan brutally summarizing the collective outrage by pointing out the obvious. He cooks for you and your family, and you can't even wash the dishes or cook anything other than mashed potatoes. It was the ultimate, undeniable exposure of a deeply one-sided dynamic. But to truly understand why she reacted this way to such a simple domestic situation, we have to look deeper into the psychological flaw driving her every move. What this infamous dinner scene exposes is a fatal behavioral flaw in Jenny's psychology that has dictated her entire time overseas. We can call it the permanent vacation mindset. Jenny hasn't moved to India to build a functional, equal marriage in a developing nation. She moved to India because she wanted to retire at a low-cost, all-inclusive resort where Sumit serves as her personal, unpaid cabana boy. She practically admitted this out loud on camera, stating in a moment of stunning lack of self-awareness that she worked hard her whole life, wants to relax, and didn't fight this hard to marry Sumit just so he could go off and work. She actually resents his ambition and his need to provide. She views her relationship not as a living, breathing partnership of equals navigating adult life, but as a hard-earned prize where she is permanently excused from contributing to the daily household. Insider theories circulating among hardcore franchise watchers suggest that she actively resists learning the local language or integrating into the culture, because doing so would break her carefully constructed illusion. If she learns how to navigate the local markets or speak to the neighbors, she suddenly has responsibilities. By remaining helpless, she forces Sumit to manage every single aspect of their existence. It is a brilliant, albeit manipulative, strategy to ensure she never has to lift a finger, but when called out on this bizarre, draining behavior by the audience or even by her own husband, you would think she might show a little humility. Instead, she deploys a defensive tactic that has completely backfired. When confronted with her own laziness, Jenny immediately tries to play the ultimate victim card, turning on the waterworks to manipulate the narrative. She cries to the cameras, loudly proclaiming that she sacrificed a lot to come and live in India, leaving her family and her country behind for love. In earlier seasons, this emotional appeal might have worked, but today it falls completely flat and reeks of sheer inauthenticity. The viewers are no longer buying the tears, quickly pointing out the glaring reality of their situation. Sumit is the one who has sacrificed absolutely everything for this union. He lost his parents' respect, he was publicly disowned by his own mother, he alienated his community, and now he works a full-time job, cooks the meals, and cleans the house, all while dealing with a partner who complains that he isn't entertaining her enough. Reports from production insiders suggest that even the film crew has been stunned by her profound lack of self-awareness during these tearful interviews. Her tears of sacrifice are rapidly drying up under the glaring spotlight of her own towering entitlement. Leaving a mundane life in America to become a reality television star with a younger man overseas doesn't look like a devastating sacrifice to the viewers. It looks like a calculated upgrade. This massive disconnect brings us directly to the core thematic hypocrisy of their entire relationship, and it is a brutal moral lesson Jenny is currently learning the hard way. The core truth of this drama is incredibly simple. You absolutely cannot demand the respect, authority, and reverence of a family matriarch, while simultaneously refusing to shoulder the basic responsibilities of a supportive partner. For well over a decade, Jenny stood her ground, screaming from the rooftops that her love was real, that her intentions were pure, and that she was Sumit's absolute equal in every way. She demanded his parents treat her as a traditional Indian wife. Yet, when it comes down to the grueling daily grind of maintaining a marriage and a home, she violently pushes all the heavy lifting onto the younger partner. It is a profound, unavoidable hypocrisy that has completely tainted her storyline. Love is an action, a daily choice to support your partner, not just a permanent vacation subsidized by someone else's labor. By refusing to act like an equal, she has shattered the illusion of the grand romance she tried so hard to sell to the world. And what happened next as a result of this hypocrisy would isolate her in a way she never thought possible. Because of this glaring hypocrisy, Jenny is now facing a level of total, unprecedented isolation that has completely rewritten her reality television legacy. For years, the hardcore fan base blindly sided with her, acting as a fiercely loyal virtual army. Viewers defended her with everything they had when Sumit was first unmasked as a married catfish, and they actively protected her from Sadhna's most brutal, emotionally devastating insults. She was the undisputed underdog of the franchise. But the ultimate reality check has arrived, and the tide has aggressively turned against her. The very same viewers who once wrote endless paragraphs defending her honor on social media are now creating viral memes mocking her. Images of Jenny staring blankly at a dirty kitchen or crying over a broom are flooding the internet, with fans tearing apart her weaponized incompetence. The narrative has shifted so drastically that it has actually spilled over into the real world, fracturing her relationships with other people in the franchise. The isolation isn't just coming from the audience anymore, it is coming from inside the house. Fellow cast members who fully understand the unique pressures of filming a reality show in a foreign country are breaking ranks to publicly call out her behavior. Personalities like Kimberly and TJ have openly criticized the dynamic, which is a massive deal in the unscripted television world. Reality TV stars usually form a tight-knit trauma bond, fiercely protecting each other from public backlash because they know how ruthless the internet can be. But insider theories suggest that there is a massive unspoken divide in the cast group chats behind the scenes. It's been said that other couples are deeply frustrated by Jenny's refusal to adapt, feeling that her constant whining makes all Americans living abroad look incredibly bad. When your own castmates are willing to risk their professional relationships to side with the audience against you, you know the situation has reached a critical, undeniable tipping point. Whispers from the rumor mill suggest that Jenny spends hours scrolling through these brutal comments, genuinely unable to comprehend why the public has suddenly abandoned her. But the truth is incredibly simple. The poor, naive American woman act has officially expired, and the audience's patience has completely run dry. We have officially reached the absolute point of no return for this couple. Jenny Slatten is standing at the edge of a marital cliff, and she is the only one holding the parachute. If she continues to treat her husband like a live-in butler while demanding he completely abandon his career, his cultural obligations, and his deep-seated desire to start a family just to sit on the couch with her, this marriage will inevitably shatter. Sumit is a man in his prime, carrying the immense, unspoken cultural weight of an Indian son. Exclusive theories circulating among franchise experts hint that Sumit is already experiencing severe burnout. He spent his entire youth fighting his parents to keep this woman, only to realize he might have accidentally signed up for a lifetime of caretaking. The resentment is quietly building in his eyes during their confessional interviews, and once that resentment fully takes root, there is no coming back. It would be the most tragic, ironic ending possible in reality television history. She successfully defeated the manipulative mother-in-law, she survived the devastating catfish lies, and she conquered the insurmountable distance, only to let her marriage be destroyed by her own stubborn refusal to wash a dirty pan. The reality of the situation extends far beyond their living room walls. It threatens their entire livelihood. Reports claim that network executives are growing incredibly tired of the stagnant, repetitive, messy house storyline. Without the chaotic interference of Sumit's parents to drive the drama, Jenny's glaring lack of domestic contribution is the only plot they have left, and it is making her highly unlikable to the core demographic. To keep those lucrative network checks coming and to save her relationship from total collapse, she desperately needs a redemption arc. She needs to drop the towering entitlement, pick up a sponge, learn the local language, and actually start acting like the equal, dedicated partner she fought so fiercely to become. The permanent vacation is over, and it is time to clock in. What do you guys think about this massive shift in the fan base? Is Jenny being unfairly roasted by the internet, or is it long overdue that she finally steps up, drops the excuses, and helps Sumit around the house? Let me know your absolute most honest thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into reality television's wildest controversies, please take a second to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest exclusive theories and unscripted secrets. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. But to truly grasp the absolute magnitude of this impending disaster, we have to flip the script and look at the terrifying psychological prison Sumit has built for himself. Why is he putting up with this? Why does a young, capable man continue to act as a full-time caretaker for a partner who outright refuses to support him? Psychologists and franchise experts point to a devastating phenomenon known as the sunk cost fallacy. Sumit has invested over a decade of his life into this relationship. He alienated his friends, shattered his reputation in his local community, and completely destroyed his relationship with his parents to defend Jenny's honor. If he finally admits that he made a massive mistake, if he confesses that his mother was completely right all along about Jenny being utterly incapable of running a household, it would be the ultimate humiliating defeat. He would have to look his family in the eye and admit that he threw away his youth for an illusion. Because of this massive pride, he is silently swallowing his resentment, forcing himself to sweep the floors and cook the meals with a fake smile. But insider reports suggest that this silent endurance is rapidly cracking. Crew members have reportedly noticed a terrifying shift in his demeanor when the cameras stop rolling. The loving, patient glances have allegedly been replaced by heavy sighs, eye rolls, and a growing, undeniable emotional distance. He is a man running entirely on empty, and the internet is watching his absolute breaking point approach in real time. This brings us to the most explosive, controversial rumor currently rocking the fandom, one that could permanently end their television careers and their marriage in one fell swoop. There is a massive wave of exclusive theories circulating in the deepest corners of the reality TV rumor mill regarding Sumit's sudden, desperate desire to start a family. We know that Sumit has been openly floating the idea of adopting a child or exploring surrogacy. It's been said that this isn't just a casual passing thought, it is a frantic, last-ditch effort to build a bridge back to his estranged parents. Giving them a grandchild might be the only way to finally earn their forgiveness and be welcomed back into the family fold. But here is where the reality of their situation creates an insurmountable brick wall. How could any adoption agency or even a surrogate look at their current domestic dynamic and approve them for a child? If Jenny cannot be trusted to wash a dirty pan, sweep a floor, or cook a basic meal, how on earth is she going to handle the chaotic, exhausting 24-hour demands of a newborn baby? Reports claim that Jenny is secretly terrified of this exact scenario. She knows that bringing a baby into the house would completely destroy her permanent vacation. She would no longer be the center of Sumit's universe. She would be forced to take a backseat to a child, and more terrifyingly, she would actually be forced to do some heavy lifting. Fans are speculating that her weaponized incompetence might actually be a highly calculated defense mechanism. By proving she is entirely incapable of taking care of herself, she is silently signaling to Sumit that he cannot possibly bring a child into their home. It is a brilliant, entirely toxic strategy to ensure her peaceful retirement remains completely uninterrupted. But this strategy is currently backfiring on a massive professional scale. Insider reports have recently surfaced suggesting that network executives at TLC are watching this dynamic with a highly critical eye, and they are not pleased with what they are seeing. Reality television thrives on progression, evolution, and shifting dynamics. Viewers want to see couples overcome obstacles, build lives, and face new challenges. Instead, Jenny and Sumit's storyline has devolved into a frustrating, repetitive loop of dirty kitchens, whining, and weaponized incompetence. There is a very real, growing buzz online that producers are considering giving the couple a massive ultimatum. Without the chaotic, screaming interference of Sumit's parents to drive the drama, Jenny's glaring lack of domestic contribution is the absolute only plotline they have left, and it is making her highly unlikable to the core demographic. If the audience completely turns against her, the network will have no choice but to cut them loose. And if the lucrative TLC paychecks suddenly stop rolling in, their entire world will collapse. Sumit's income alone would not be enough to sustain their lifestyle, and exclusive theories suggest that if they lose the show, they might be forced into the ultimate nightmare scenario, moving back in with Sumit's parents just to survive. Imagine the sheer poetic irony of that outcome. Jenny spent 10 years fighting to get away from Sadhna's critical, overbearing judgment, only to literally budget herself right back into her mother-in-law's living room because she refused to pick up a sponge. And hovering over all of this chaos is the ultimate shadow of karma. You have to wonder what Sadhna is thinking as she watches these episodes air on television. For years, she was painted as the ultimate unforgiving villain of the entire franchise. The audience hated her for her harsh words, her brutal honesty, and her aggressive tactics to separate the couple. But as the seasons roll by and Jenny's true colors are finally exposed, the fan sentiment has drastically shifted. People are actually starting to apologize to Sadhna online. They are realizing that she wasn't just being cruel, she was desperately trying to protect her son from a lifetime of exhausting servitude. She saw past the romantic facade and recognized exactly what Jenny was, a tourist looking for an indefinite, all-expenses-paid holiday disguised as a marriage. Sadhna doesn't even have to interfere anymore. She can simply sit back, sip her tea, and watch as Jenny completely self-sabotages her own happily ever after. The absolute greatest revenge Sadhna could ever get is simply letting Jenny be exactly who she is on national television. We have officially reached the absolute point of no return for this couple. The shift from an us against the world romance to an us against each other domestic nightmare is fully complete. Jenny Slatten is standing at the edge of a marital cliff, and she is the only one holding the parachute. The sympathy of the audience, which was her absolute greatest shield for nearly a decade, has completely evaporated. If she continues to treat her husband like a live-in butler while demanding he completely abandon his career, his cultural obligations, and his deep-seated desire to start a family just to sit on the couch with her, this marriage will inevitably shatter. Sumit is slowly waking up from the illusion. The resentment is quietly building in his eyes during their confessional interviews, and once that resentment fully takes root, there is absolutely no coming back. It would be the most tragic, ironic ending possible in reality television history. She successfully defeated the manipulative mother-in-law, she survived the devastating catfish lies, and she conquered the insurmountable distance across the globe, only to let her grand romance be completely destroyed by her own stubborn refusal to do the dishes. She needs to drop the towering entitlement, pick up a broom, learn the local language, and actually start acting like the equal, dedicated partner she fought so fiercely to become. The permanent vacation is over, and it is finally time to clock in. What do you guys think about this massive shift in the fan base? Is Jenny being unfairly roasted by the internet, or is it long overdue that she finally steps up, drops the excuses, and helps Sumit around the house? Do you think Sumit will eventually reach his breaking point and leave her to start a family of his own? Let me know your absolute most honest thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into reality television's wildest controversies, please take a second to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest exclusive theories and unscripted secrets. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.